Welcome to this week's edition of the Sports Scoop Coaches Show. Joining me, a shock to many, Joltin' Joe Hayford, who's been missing in action for a number of weeks.
I'm sitting in Ted's chair. What an honor it is.
And another unusual thing is Teddy Hammond is not here, and I believe Teddy told me it's anniversary number 45 today. All the kids are there, so we gave him the day off without pay, of course, but we did give him the day off.
Well, I was paging through the newspaper a couple of weeks ago, and the kids or somebody must have put a little ad in there about his anniversary. So I had to text him, and of course he does not text, so I get a call right away about, giving him congratulations on his anniversary. And if you could only see a picture of Ted and Penny at that age, the two young pups, and 45 years, congratulations to them.
Not only does he not text, hey, if he gets mad when you send him a text because it costs him a nickel to read it.
Was that right?
So, Teddy will he'll move up to the 21st century pretty soon now.
Yeah,
he's about at my level, so and I learned to text now, so he can do that too. Well, we're going to talk a little high school football. We have no one that we're following anymore. The two teams that are somewhat close to us both went down in yesterday's semifinals. Tri-City United got soundly thumped by Piers, and Mankato West, the defending section champs, got defeated by St. Michael Albertville, the team they beat last year in the semifinals. So we're all set, for Prep Bowl, and that'll be next week on Friday and Saturday. They play 4 games on Friday, 3 games on Saturday. On Friday, we have the 9-man championship, a couple of undefeated teams, Underwood and Grand Meadow. And I think Grand Meadow is going for something like their 3rd straight state title. So that's just a power down in southern Minnesota. In 2A also plays Friday. That's Pipestone undefeated versus Caledonia. And, of course, Caledonia has just been a football power for half dozen years now. They continue to roll.
One of those schools, like the other one that you had mentioned also, they're just in there all the time, year after year. And I know back years ago, back in the 70s, you'd always hear like Monoman. They were in it all the time. But some of these schools just year after year continue to be in these tournaments. And it was kind of nice. My brother-in-law, they were coming down from the New Prague area going through Tri-City right about the time they were ready to head up to their game. And they had actually an escort with the fire engines and police officers to head them out of town on their way up to the game. So it's anytime you can get in these tournaments, in a state tournament, it's just a great thing for the community. And it just really is a good experience for all those boys.
They'll play Pipestone. I saw a few highlights on Maxie's Friday night rally, and it looks like Pipestone has a left-handed quarterback, and it looked like they run a lot of play-action stuff. So evidently they've been pretty successful, whatever they're doing, because they're 13-0 as well.
Yeah, and Pipestone, they've had a good program the last few years. And, the last time we had a left-handed quarterback here was Kaminsky.
Oh, did he play quarterback?
He was a very good quarterback for us. One of the 5 years that I had coached, he was an excellent quarterback for us, and one that could throw it well, and he could run with it if things weren't open.
In 4A, they'll play the 4 o'clock game on Friday. It's South St. Paul versus Becker. Becker, of course, the defending state champ, and they took out Stewartville, who had an excellent season. I would guess Becker's the big favorite in that game, but, you get to this stage, everybody's pretty good.
Yeah, and of course some really good teams were knocked off early in the semis, too.
Yeah.
So you never know.
And the final game on Friday, the 7 o'clock game, will be the big schools, the 6As, and that's Osseo, who's lost 3 times, versus Eastridge, who's 11-1. Totino Grace, I guess the surprise, got beat by Osseo by 1 point after beating Eden Prairie the week before. So evidently 6A is wide open this year, because those schools aren't schools that you normally hear about. It's the Eden Prairies and the Wasetas that you normally hear about there, and neither one of those are around this year.
No, and that's why it was a big surprise when you hear Eden Prairie got knocked off.
Yeah, that's like beating a college team. Then on Saturday, the final 3 state championships will take place. The 10 o'clock game, pair of undefeateds in 1A, Minneapolis North and Minneota. And Minneapolis North, of course, has the Gopher recruit that chalks up about 6 TDs a game running and passing. I guess I have not seen him. I guess he's phenomenal.
Yeah, that'll be a good one for the Gophers to get. And they have sounds like they've had a good year recruiting too. They've got some good kids coming in next year.
And Minneota, of course, they're another one of those schools that always seem to be there in the final game. In the 1 o'clock game, which is the 3A championship, Jackson County Central 10-2 versus Pierce, undefeated.
In Pipestone, Jackson County Central coming out of that southwest area there. They've got some good football down in that corner of the state.
And the final game of the high school season will be the 4 o'clock game, the 5A championship, St. Thomas Academy versus St. Michael Albertville. They both lost one. And as we mentioned, St. Michael knocked off defending champ Mankato West last night.
Yep.
So that'll be a great finale for the high school football season. We also have some news in volleyball because the Waterville Elysian Morristown Bucks are going to the state tournament for the first time ever in volleyball. They're 31-3, Hafe. They've won 15 straight games. They won the section title last night, blanked Mayor Lutheran 3-0. What a season they're having.
I was visiting with my good friend Ed Jesse, who coached the B squad this year for Waseca, and I asked him just last week, I said, of all the teams you guys played this year, who really stood out? Who was a good club that you played? And he did not think very long, and he said Waterville, Elysian Morristown right away. So hats off to the girls down there in Waterville, and good luck.
That starts Thursday up at the XL Energy Center. Waterville's just, I think the thing about them, I have not seen them this year, but when you read the recaps in the paper, you see a lot of different names. So evidently they aren't dependent on 1 or 2 girls to get 20 kills apiece. They're pretty well balanced.
Yeah, and I wonder how many of those girls play basketball, if that's going to transfer into the basketball season, because that could be a good thing for that program also.
The other volleyball team that was still alive going into the week, NRHEG, the Panthers finished 14-13 overall. They were 9-16 a year ago. They defeated St. Peter in the subsection semifinals 3-0, and then lost to Kenyon in the subsection championship 3-0. Kenyon ended up losing to Belle Plaine to go to state, and of course Belle Plaine seems to go to state in volleyball every year. Yeah. So that state tournament will be Thursday and Friday up at the XL Energy Center. Big day in cross country yesterday, at least for the kids that had qualified for state. The state meet was at St. Olaf College in Northfield, and from the area we had 1 runner in all 4 sections. In AA girls, Abby Dufault of Waseca, she's just a 9th grader, I think. She qualified for state. She finished 77th out of 176 runners, so about in the middle of the pack for Abby, a little in the top half. And you know, when you're that young, you just hope you learn from that experience and get back next year, because that is a different meet when you take off from the start line there.
You said it, experience to be able to be in that situation when it's your first time. You know, it's like the big show. You get maybe a little bit nervous, but after that, if you experience success early as a youngster, and now you come back there again, the nerves may be a little bit less next time, and you know, a year older and more experience. So that's pretty good showing for the first time at the state tournament.
And you have to learn about it, because you know, a lot of times during the regular season, you don't have to go like a bat out of you know where at the start. Up at the state cross country meet, you do, because there's nearly 200 runners, and if you decide to start out slow, you're behind so many you could never get back in it.
Oh, it's like Pizza Ranch, trying to get in the buffet line. If you don't get there early, it's trouble.
In AA boys, Cole Strike, a junior from Waseca, and I'm sure we'll hear about him some more this winter, but he was in the state cross country meet. He finished 69th out of 176 runners, so I'm sure Cole was probably a little disappointed personally, but like you say, that first time you got to learn about that state running meet. Yeah. In A, we had 1 boy, 1 girl. The girl was Tierney Winter from WEM, and Tierney, I think this might have been her 3rd year in a row at the state, and she had her best finish. She finished 35 out of 175 runners. So this was her senior season. Pretty good end to a great cross-country career for Tierney.
Yes.
And the boys, I always get this name wrong, Caden Cameron, I believe, from WMJWP. He's a sophomore. He was to the cross-country meet for the first time. He finished 77th out of 176. So 4 pretty good showings. All of the 4 were in the top half of the big meet at St. Olaf College.
Yeah, good representation from this area.
And that's, we had wrapped up soccer, Hafe, and tennis girls the weeks before. So we maybe just take your great mind of looking ahead and always liking to gamble and bet. And
now you're asking a lot.
Great mind.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Hafe, we have the start of boys basketball, boys hockey, and gymnastics. And then next week it'll be girls basketball and wrestling that start their practices. Thursday, I suppose we should mention Waseca has their fall sport recognition night, so all the fall sports and the MVPs will be named at that. But I thought we could take maybe just a peek at the Waseca boys and girls hoops teams, because they're both coming off such great years. The boys were 25-5 last year. The girls were 23-6 and got to the section finals.
Yes.
So both have lost some people. It's going to be interesting. My first thought, Hafe, is we might, well, for both of them, we might see a lot of 4-guard offenses.
It seems like that's the type of teams that we have is filled with guards. Both teams, when you take a look at their situations, the answer or the question is, how are we going to do inside?
Yep.
We do have some tall, lanky boys in the boys team. It's just a matter of are we going to have the strength inside with those guys? And I think that we really need to use those guys, because you know that they're really going to put their focus on Dufault. They're going to try to stop him on the outside. The best defender is going to be on him, and everybody else is going to be told to help and to stop him. Because I think people think that if they can keep him from scoring, that they can beat Waseca. So that's going to be the big thing is to spread the ball around and take what the other teams are going to give you, and if those big kids can come through, because they're going to have some opportunities where they're going to be one-on-one and not get doubled or get doubled down on people because they're going to be watching our guards so much, is that they could have some success there.
Well, and yeah, my fear is, can we score inside and can we stop anybody inside? Because basically we will have Jake Guzzi back, about 6'6", and played a lot as a sophomore. Elijah Carter's back, and he's about the same size. But neither one of them are big, strong, physical type guys, so you just wonder, are people going to pound it? Outside, we should be fine. If Nick, knock on wood, no sickness, no injury, he's going to be the all-time leading scorer at Waseca easily. You look for Cole Strike to play a lot. You look for Caleb Nelson, both up from the B squads last year. You can have Dakota Williamson either starting or coming off the bench. I mean, they got a lot of...
Yeah,
and
they do.
And the big word, I hate to even mention it, but from talking to everybody out at the high school, is freshman Malik Williamson can score 40 anytime he wants, according to our prognosticator, Clint Link.
Yeah, well... And Malik's going to have to play some defense.
Yeah.
I was watching those guys play some pickup ball, and Malik can shoot the ball. And he's going to have an opening. He's going to have to be coming off screens, and he can maybe create a little bit. He's young, and he's going to have to understand, a lot of different parts of the game. Because
he's frail.
Yeah. Defense is the big key, is that we got to be able to play defense. And you talk about we got those tall, lanky guys inside, and they're long, and that's great. The game's gotten to be so physical; it's really changed over the years. That might be a problem. But those young guys, there are some guys that are going to be playing some varsity basketball that haven't had a lot of experience, and I think as the season goes on and they gain some experience, that's going to really help them out down the road.
And the girls, Joni Conway's crew, they may be even more guard dominant because they lost all of their inside people, and the only person I think she has to play inside is the Hyam girl who played outside last year.
Yeah.
But she'll have the Karsten twins, Taylor Hiller. She'll have some people that can run around and put it up as well.
Yep.
Madison Galoff, who was very impressive as an 8th grader last year.
Yes, I think both these teams, as you talk about them, and especially the girls, I think that the girls are going to be able to create some offense with their defense, with some half-court traps and some pressure. I think that they can get some easy buckets just with their defense there. And, you know, the half-court offense definitely, like you said, the inside game is going to be a question. You know, it's a lot different for the high-end girl when you have to play with your back to the basket and get used to that. It's not, you know, it's something that if you've done over the years, it becomes more natural. But so that will certainly be interesting, but exciting with both teams having some nice seasons last year, and I think they'll both have some good records again this year.
Well, the Lady Jays last year, you kind of had the feel. I mean, they held a number of teams under 30 points, which is just unheard of in the modern day basketball. But you kind of had the feeling last year if a team scored 40 against them, they were in serious trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah it's going to be, I think, much of the same formula this year for the Lady Jays. Yeah. As we talk about those, the Waseca boys will open the season on the 20th of November, against Tri-City United coming to town. And the girls, who start a week later, as we mentioned, same formula as last year, boys first, girls second. They'll open against Worthington on the 28th, and I think that's a girl-boy doubleheader that afternoon.
Yes.
Against Worthington. So before you know it, the things are here. The first winter event of the season actually will start Tuesday night. The girls hockey team hosts Mankato West, so it's here already.
It's here, and the nice thing about the football playoffs, I think that they're going to have some decent weather to play those outside games in at TCF.
Yep, you bet. Well, moving on to the college and pro scene, Teddy and I always talk a little about the Gusties and MSU, and MSU was supposed to have a big, tough game yesterday in Sioux Falls. The Mavs, I think, are ranked 7th, and Sioux Falls was ranked 8th. Final score, Mankato State 44, Sioux Falls 3.
So, and they would get beat by Winona, was it, last week?
Winona, coming off the Winona State loss.
Yeah.
44-3. They evidently put things together yesterday afternoon.
Wow.
And that was on the road as well. So
yeah, that's a huge win, and there's a lot of build-up when you have teams like that, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Yep. The Mavs will close the regular season at home next Saturday. Wayne State comes to town. MSU is 9-1, and talk about 3 straight phenomenal years in a row for the Mavericks. Gee, it's unbelievable.
It's been great, and I understand that they're just, packing that place over there. Yeah. It's they've got a good thing going there.
The Gusties, who had started out the year with 6 straight wins and then lost 2 straight, scored 2 touchdowns in the last 29 seconds yesterday and beat Concordia 41-34 to go to 7-2 for the year. But all they have waiting for them, the final game, is St. Thomas undefeated. Wow. Coming to town. And we knew that the Gusties schedule was loaded at the bottom, and it's proved to be. But Teddy's boy, Mitch Hendricks, threw for 300 yards again, and they have a couple of brothers that are receivers. The boys' twins or brothers, I don't know if they're twins, and Teddy just loves them.
Wow.
Every game he knows. That had 8 catches for 105.
Man.
So,
and that college game is just wide open. Spread them out and pass the football.
And we said, boy, if you find a nice fall afternoon and want to go watch a football game, go to Gustavus, because you can sit on a hillside, you can sit in the stands. It's just a gorgeous setting for a small school.
Yeah, and great turf field, and of course, when we used to go watch the MSU games, you and I, was always a great situation too.
You bet, you bet. The Golden Gophers, the struggles continue. 4-5 they are now, under 500, and chances of a minor bowl are slim at best. The Gophers played the top-ranked team in the country, Ohio State, pretty tough last night, but could not get any offense going and lost 28-14. And your text was, boy, the Gophers are really creative, aren't they? It seems like every series, first down, dive straight ahead.
Yeah, they run the read, and
but we don't read. We always give it.
No, he was giving it every time, and I don't know, it just didn't seem like the down and distance didn't fit the play call situation, unfortunately. And if you're going to get after those big teams, you got to open it up a little bit. And early on in the first half of the game, they didn't do that. But then they started opening up a little bit and started to move the football. And I thought, wow, there you go. That's some good offensive calls. And it was just too bad right there before the half that interception happened. Had that not happened, it may have been a 0-0 at the half. And you're thinking, wow, we're hanging with the big dogs here, and you've got momentum coming out of the locker room into the second half. But that just kind of deflated the Gophers a little bit. Though, they continued to play fairly well, and they held them to 28 points. Is that what it was? That's not
and
too
one
bad.
was late. Great.
Yeah, and granted, I didn't think that the Ohio State quarterback played very well. No. He did not look very good. His passing was not terribly accurate, and the Gophers did a really good job of stopping the run game with him.
He had three, I believe, quarterback draws that absolutely killed the Gophers. Two of them came on third and longs, and then he scored one at the end of the game that was meaningless, but he went about 40 yards on a quarterback draw for the final score. But I thought Mitch played well again, threw the ball pretty well for the Gophers.
Yep, he just had a few miscues, and boy, I was thinking about the size of that guy. I think he goes about 238, 6'4", 6'6", or whatever it is. That's a big quarterback, and
very big.
If he can get in the open and get rolling, he'll run people over if he can. But it's just he just couldn't get out on the edge on that read option. If he could have kept it a couple of times, I thought he's isolated one-on-one with that defensive end there, but that just didn't happen.
Yeah, the start of the season he didn't run at all, and then last week he kept it a number of times. It looked pretty good. Yeah. Now this week again he didn't keep it. I don't know if they're so concerned about him getting hit, because the way those announcers talk, that he just took a beating last night. Every time they sounded like he threw a pass, he got nailed afterwards.
Yeah, he did. And on that run, it's a read. He has to read whether he's going to hand it off or not. Well, apparently the read is that he's going to give it to the back most of the time. So when he isn't running it, it's not because they didn't call his number. It's because he's making that determination right there at the line.
So the Gophers are 4-5. You got to win 6 to get to any kind of bowl game, and they have undefeated Iowa and Wisconsin among their last 3 games.
Boy, does not look good for that situation.
Not at all.
But of course, if they would, probably be like the Cereal Bowl or something like that.
Well, yeah, it's going to be such a minor bowl anyway. But the thing there is, you get the extra 3 weeks of practice for the following years. But they go down to undefeated Iowa next week.
Boy, Iowa's having a great year.
Tremendous year.
Very good year. And like I talked earlier, it sounds like the Gophers have a nice recruiting class coming in, and hopefully all those guys are going to stick with it with the coaching change and not switch their decisions. But it sounds like we're going to get some real athletic guys.
The Minnesota Wild. Hey, Teddy always loves talking about the Wild. They are now 8-3-2. And all that's gotten them is 5th place in their division.
But it's a good start for the
Tremendous start.
And is it Zach Preezy got hurt?
Yep.
I don't know what the extent of the injury is.
Now, they said only a couple games. Turned out nothing serious. They lost to Nashville 3-2 during the week, and then defeated Tampa Bay last night 1-0. Old Doobie was stopping everything.
Yeah, but he was on fire towards the end of the year last year.
Yep.
So it's a great start for them.
Tremendous
But everybody else is having good starts.
Well, they're in the toughest division in hockey, no doubt about it. Tuesday, the Winnipeg Jets come to town to face the Wild. The Wolves off to a good start for the Wolves as well. They're 3-0 on the road, 3-2 for the season. They lost a couple games last week, and then yesterday they went to Chicago and beat the Bulls in overtime, outscored them 9-0 in the overtime to pick up a 102-93 win, and Wiggins broke out of his early season slump, I guess you call it, with 31 yesterday.
And it's fun to watch these young guys. A lot of names that I'm not used to, and fun to watch, but the best thing about the deal is Rubio's haircut. He looks so much better out there.
And he can make a jump shot once in a while.
You can tell he's been working on his outside shot because it looks so much better.
Yep.
His shot before is almost like a set shot.
Yeah. So they're having fun so far. Monday they go to Atlanta, and Tuesday they're at home to face Charlotte. So keep it going, Wolves. Maybe Tyus can get off the bench one of these games. Who knows?
Yeah, what's the deal there? He was in street clothes the other night.
Was he?
I'm not sure if they can only suit so many people up or
I
what the deal
imagine.
is.
He was dressed yesterday, but didn't get in again.
Yeah.
And then we always have to talk about the Vikes and Green Bay. Maybe we don't have to talk about Green Bay because Teddy's not here.
That's right.
But we want to talk about Green Bay because they got throttled last week.
Yes.
The undefeated Packers and the undefeated Broncos, 29-10. Denver, I have never in his career seen Aaron Rodgers controlled like that.
It was totally different.
77 passing yards.
Two tremendous quarterbacks. Of course, Peyton, he just runs an orchestra out there and picks defenses apart. But two of the best quarterbacks in the league right there. And Aaron, certainly it was not, I haven't seen him have that type of game in quite some time. But you can attribute that to a tremendous defense, and that's why Denver's undefeated the way they are. And the Packers, yes, they're having a great year too. But it's amazing, you watch these games on television as you're watching from, bird's eye view, and to really understand at field level that what these quarterbacks are doing with these huge men, 6'6", 6'7", whatever, 300 pounds, 280 coming at you, and to find those receivers and to make those throws through the wingspan arms, it's pretty amazing what these guys are doing with the piece of leather and throwing that thing through the fray of guys coming at them.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. The Pack have to try and rebound, and they're on the road again today against undefeated Carolina with Cam Newton, the old fullback at quarterback, too.
Yes, I think the Packers will bounce back.
I do too.
I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah. The Vikes, they're 5-2 and now only one game behind the Pack. They beat Chicago 23-20, and all I said at the end of that one was "Merry Christmas, Vikings."
You take what you can get. Absolutely.
It was unbelievable. They were down 20-13 with 5 minutes left or something, and hadn't done anything all day. And boom, score, stop them, get a field goal. We evidently have our field goal kicker back on track now because he's hit about 10 straight now.
Yes, he's on a roll, and it's fun to be in the fray and have a good start like that.
The Vikes are at home at noon today. They face the St. Louis Rams, and that could be a feature battle with Adrian Peterson and Todd Gurley, who's having just a phenomenal running season for the Rams.
They said that's the person they're going to have to stop. They said, watch out when he does the hurly-gurly, because he swivels those hips and gets her going.
Well, Hafe, that's the list of my agenda. Do you have any quick points you need to make? Because I'm sure we probably won't see you before Christmas again.
I didn't have any props to bring. I'm sure Ted has those props all the time.
The 9 viewers will miss that.
Could have brought a 10-point buck or something.
Yeah.
That's true, yes.
We can give the baby progress report with our good friend Grant Berg. Expecting twins, and now understand they're going to be taken on November 24th, right before Thanksgiving.
All right.
The boy is already 6.5 pounds. I said, Grant, slow him down. We want a specialty player, not a lineman for Schultz. So, best wishes to Sugar and Grant, and we'll be keeping a close eye on the baby's progress. Abe?
Well, congratulations to those two, and to Air Grant Berg and his lovely wife, and the family soon coming.
Wonder if he'll be able to hit the golf ball 350 yards like the airman.
Life changes after you have kids, I'll tell you that.
We want to thank Stephen Hudson for producing this week's show. Thank the Joltin' Joe Hayford for showing up. It's always good to see him 2 or 3 times a year. And thanks to you for watching. We'll see you all next week.